Good morning, Tube. We're going to do some quick work on the Class C. We're upgrading the rear sway bar to this Hellwig unit. We also have a Hellwig front sway bar mounting kit. I haven't opened that one. Mounting kits here for the rear sway bar. And then we're also going to be attaching there's only a few bike racks that are actually recommended for use on a Class C. Swagman is one of the ones, and when you go by the reviews, they're really rated as one of the best ones. So we are going to be mounting the bike rack on the back of there because we have a couple events coming up here. In the next 3 weekends we got stuff going on, so I'm gonna try getting this done real quick. I don't know if I'll get the front sway bar on today, but if not, I'll do that during the week. But I got to get the rear and the bike rack, so let me get under the vehicle and let's get started. Okay, we got to undo this link. There's a link over there. I'm only doing this one-handed. I can't really get in here. And we'll undo that nut there where this rod drops, and we'll use the Hellwig one. And then you have right there's your mount, one there and one there, and that'll allow this to drop, and then we'll put in the new Hellwig unit. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to film. I'll try filming different segments because, as you can see, you really need to do this with the weight of the vehicle on the suspension. So I'm going to have to go side to side, but as I'm dropping stuff, I'll turn the camera on and off and show you where we're at. So, all right, we got this side undone. These were 17mm bolts. The bolts that held this up here was 15. Now that will change depending on vehicle, but overall, I mean, this is now we just got to undo that side there. This sway bar will come down. And as I don't know if you can see, but I do have two jack stands. So when I put the other one up, well, I'm going to do it to take this one down too, because that's the only two bolts now. So I'm going to put a jack stand here and there, because this bar, it's heavy, it's manageable, but the problem is when you're underneath the vehicle, it's so tight, it's a lot harder to lift and hold and that. So I'm going to put it up on the jack stands. And then we'll just do the opposite and put it back in. We will use the Hellwig, all new bushings. And we will be spraying all these with white lithium grease. Up here, there's a set of bushings here and there. And we will be spraying all of those with white lithium grease. All right, let me get the jack stands in place. I'll drop this. And then I'll start videoing again when I'm ready to put it in. Oh, baby, yeah. Oh, baby. Oh, hey, YouTube. Hey, you guys caught me. I'm in love with my drive shaft. Not much room under here, so if this was a car or something, it would be a lot easier. I could jack it up. Put jack stands out of the way here and here, you know, on the axle ends. And I do have a set of jack stands that probably would hold this, but I'm choosing to, once I get under here, it's not too bad. I have this little bit of room, but now I'm in a perfect position. I hope I didn't forget any tools. We'll go ahead and get this in place. Here's my hardware kit. And since I'm laying this side, let's put that here. and now I got good access to my hardware kit. I was using a breaker bar on this side. You can do this with socket and rat, and then I'm thinking, wait a minute, the wife bought me that huge compressor for my shop. Why am I using hand tools? But you could definitely use hand tools to do this, so a compressor is not required. It just makes it nice. I won't be reusing these. The Hellwig does come with all new hardware, the bracket, everything, so I won't be reusing this stuff. So, you know, this stuff can all go over there. It's all new bolts. These plates that go in there, I don't need those. And all right, let me get this puppy in place and we'll start videoing again. So all right, see you in a minute. All right, I can't emphasize this enough. The Hellwig kit came with 2 of these white grease capsules. They're soft, you squeeze out. There's one. I just lost the other one. It's here, I know. Well, anyway, I can't emphasize enough. You can do these in a vise or with a rubber hammer. Lubricate the center of this rubber bushing from this ridge to that ridge thoroughly. Push it in there. Lubricate the inside of the bushing and to the sleeve. Push it in there. You could do it with a rubber hammer. I do not recommend using a steel hammer, and you don't have to wail on it. Just lightly do it. Lubricate thoroughly. This is what's going to decide if this thing's going to squeak and on every little bump, or if it's just going to be a nice quiet suspension. So I can't emphasize enough. Lubricate it with lithium grease, white grease, pretty much same thing, just a different name. But if you go in, you can buy a can. This is what I use on all my suspension stuff. I'm using this because it did come in it, but this is what I use. And I spray a little bit on there. If your suspension is already squeaking and rattling and that, like the shocks and all that, just go and give it a light spray, and it's gonna have to work in because these bushings are tight. But if you spray a little bit of this, it can help. So, all right, let me get this mocked up and we'll go from there. And so I'm probably right at 20 minutes already. This whole thing, if I wasn't stopped to film and all that, it should only take you a half hour or less to put this up in here. So it's not an all-day affair or by any means. Filming definitely adds to the time though. Okay, this side is not tight. Neither is this. I have that up, my jack stand's holding it there. You can see how I sprayed the outside. I greased the inside of the bushing. I sprayed on the outside of the bushing. I sprayed the bottom of that plate that goes in there and that. Let me go to this side, you'll get a better see. As you see, I sprayed the underside of this plate, not both, just this. I sprayed around the bushing and I sprayed in here. So I don't know how good this is gonna be, but let me get this up in place now. I mean, you're gonna have to play with these bolts a little bit to get them in. There's no big deal. you know, once you get them started, you can run them up. I do put a little bit of Loctite on these. I use the blue here. Here's the old bolts. We won't be reusing them. New ones come. All right, so both of those are in. So let's get these out of here. Oh, maybe. All right. Get the old parts. Now, the most critical adjustment you're gonna have, let me get the paper. Sorry about that, car alarm went off. All right, the biggest thing is from the nut to the bottom, you want a 1/2 inch of threads exposed. So, what I do is I just screw these up. I get my 1/2 inch down here, get my 1/2 inch, and then I'll screw this down. Now, you don't want to collapse these down too much. You want a slight swell, and the absolute most you want to crush these is if you measure from this washer to this washer, you should have 1.5 inches, and that's totally crushed, the absolute most you should do. So, like I said, I'll screw this up till I get my 1/2 inch, and then I'll tighten it down and get my swell with this, and then you have a jam nut here. Before I screw this jam nut down, I'm gonna get this adjusted, put a touch of Loctite, and then I'll put my jam nut on there. And these here, you just tighten them up, and that's it, you're done. And that will be a rear sway bar install. There we are. Everything's tight. Moving around the best I can, sorry. We have no interference. That one's tight. You can see all the grease on there. I'm not worried about that. And you can see again here, all the white lithium. So there we go. That's rear sway bar. I still do have to do the front one, and I have to get my bike rack on, so I'll make another video for the front one, but that's probably